Welcome back to our second episode of The Cyber Show, brought to you by ThreatAdvice and NXTsoft.
Yes, if you haven't seen episode 1, go back and watch it. If you have, thanks for tuning in to episode 2. On the show today, we have a news roundup first, followed by a little game that's going to be based around FBI data for the most hacked states of 2020. After that, website of the week. And then finally, a special announcement about Microsoft's most infamous character of all time. So stick around. Elizabeth?
So for our first story, we have the U.S. government who is offering a $10 million reward on information on hackers who are targeting critical infrastructure. Now, they are requesting the identification and location of these hackers, and I quote, acting at the direction or under the control of a foreign government. This includes unauthorized access to a computer and also installing malware to infect protected computers. The State Department has also installed a Tor hidden service where users can report these incidents.
It'll be interesting to see what effect this has, because it's nice to see legislation coming out that supports people reporting these. But what are the limitations?
The limitations are just for any hackers who are in connection to a foreign government. So hopefully they'll broaden this up.
For our next story, you've probably heard of deepfakes. So this is using AI technology to synthesize media, so this could be audio or video or both, about an individual that's not actually real, hence the name, fake. So this week, there's a new documentary called Roadrunner, and it's about the life and tragic death of Anthony Bourdain, the famous chef and TV host. And what the documentarian, the director, decided to do was to synthesize Bourdain's voice, three or so lines of his voice from emails that he'd written. So these are things that he did in fact write, but he never said out loud. And the documentary maker decided, I want to have audio of this and a voiceover. You can actually hear it if you watch the trailer to Roadrunner. And use that in the film. So obviously this runs into some ethical issues. Bourdain is no longer alive. How do you get consent for something like that? It's nothing that he actually said. But this is what Morgan Neville, who's the documentarian, said about this when people pushed back. He said, hey, we can have a documentary ethics panel about it later. So he wasn't overly concerned about that part of it. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting.
Thank you, Ben. And for our final story today, we have New York City, who has announced that they will be launching the CCIS, which is the Cyber Critical Service and Infrastructure Operations Center in Manhattan. So this has been in the works since 2017, and because of recent surges in cyber attacks and ransomware, they are finally rolling out this plan. Now, this will be composed of a mix of public and private sectors such as Amazon, IBM, and the New York Police, and multiple healthcare providers to help mitigate these cyber attacks. Now, cities like Atlanta and Baltimore could also be closely following behind on this trend that we're seeing.
Yeah, that's great. That's really the first one of its kind. So New York might be setting precedent for these other cities. I know, like the cities you mentioned have had pretty bad cyber attacks in the past that they've had to pay a lot of money for. So that would be a great step forward. So we'll see. We'll see if that's a new trend. But that's the news for today. We'll see you next time. All right, I've got Mandy with me now. We're gonna play a little game.
All right.
We're gonna look at the states, the most hacked states of 2020.
All right.
Most people know 2020 was a real rough year for people getting hacked, right? Pandemic, basically just laid the landscape out for hackers to just have a party, and they did. But we're gonna look at where, where in the U.S. do we actually see the most concentration of individuals, companies getting hacked? So this is a list put together by a company called GetResponse, and they looked at FBI data for all 50 states. So all 50 states are game here. I'm gonna give you 10 guesses to try to get three states out of the top 10 most hacked states of 2020. Okay, these are based on the number of victims per 100,000 residents. So you can't just be like, oh, well, Texas, because it's gigantic, because there's more people there. Well, it's per 100,000 residents, so it's been, averaged out around that number. So anyway,
sounds good.
All that said, there you go. Guess number one.
Ready to go? Georgia.
Wrong.
Alabama.
Wrong. Our own state did not make the top 10. That's
Well,
good. That's a good
for
thing.
us, I guess. New York.
No.
Oregon.
No. This is a tough one.
Nevada.
Yes, Nevada was
Okay.
number
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Actually, at the top.
Okay. Arizona. Man, Florida.
Yes, Florida's number 5. So wait, let's
Okay.
see. Okay, you've got 3 more guesses to
Okay.
get one more out of
Okay.
this list.
Texas. Oh my gosh. Good for them, I guess. Let me think. Mississippi.
All right,
Alright, this is my
final
last
guess
guess.
to
This is my
get
last guess. I
one. You've
gotta
only
get
got
one
2 out of the
more.
top 10.
Let me think. North Carolina.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mandy. You were so close. Here's the list. Here's the top 10 most hacked
Okay.
states per 100,000 residents in 2020. Number 1, you got Nevada.
Okay.
Number 2, Washington, D.C., which you're like, well,
That's concerning.
So, D.C., number 2. Number 3, Iowa,
Okay.
which, who would have thought? Number 4, Alaska.
I would not have guessed that one.
Number 5, you got Florida.
Okay.
Number 6, Maryland. Number 7, Delaware. Number 8, Washington. Number 9, Colorado. And finally, number 10, Indiana.
All right. Interesting. That's a spread.
There you
That's
have
quite
it.
the spread.
If you're interested in seeing the full list, you can find it at Get Response. And there you have it, the most hacked states of 2020. If your state was not on there, good for you.
Good for you.
If it was, hopefully it does better in 2021.
All right, Elizabeth, this is our website of the week that I got to pick for us this time, and I'm going to show you something that's a little bit interesting. It's called planefinder.net, and they also have an app called Planefinder that you can download on your phone. And basically what you can do is you pull it up, and it's a map of the globe, and it shows you every plane that is currently in flight, which is pretty cool, and you wouldn't think there would be quite this many planes. It's very, very populated on the screen. With all these planes. And what you can do that's really interesting is you can zoom into any location that you want to look at, and you can click on any of these little planes that it's showing, and it will show you all of the information about that plane and about that flight. So you can see the airline, the flight number, you can see where it is, where it has departed from and where it's arriving, and the times. So it's super cool that you can see that. You can see the latitude, the speed, all the information about this flight that this site will give you. You can click literally anywhere in the world and it will show you its path and everything about it. So it's kind of cool if you're somewhere and you see a plane going by and you're like, I wonder where that's going. You can just pull up Plane Finder and take a look.
Wow, I didn't realize this was live, so all of these planes are in flight right
They
now.
are currently in flight right now, and you can see where any of them are going and pretty much all of the information on these flights.
That's really
So,
interesting.
It's pretty neat.
All right, guys, this is our final segment of episode 2 of the Cyber Show, and I'm going to close it out with a very important announcement that will be nostalgic to many of you. If you used Microsoft Windows 97, you will remember Clippy. Guess what? Clippy is back. Remember this guy? That's right. The annoying office assistant that you could never get rid of has returned. Microsoft Office 365 has a new set of what they're calling the affluent emoji. It's about 1,800 new emoji, and when you use the paperclip emoji, it'll be now replaced by Clippy, who's returning to glory once again, to the frustration of many, myself included. That's all I've got for today.